Sorry I'm late. That's alright. Don't worry about it.
I love tea. Do you know I used to work at a suicide prevention hotline?
Jump! 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 Do you have a gas stove? Jump now! And I know you're a complete idiot. You don't want to go across the street, you want to go down the road. Jump now! My dinner's getting cold. Alright? Have a good night.
Oh, well that's really charitable of you.
Yeah,
Just helping the little people. You know, like midgets.
Yes.
And amputees and
Definitely.
amputee midgets.
And speaking of, charitable acts, could I interest you in some merchandise?
That's a toothbrush.
Well, yes it is. When it comes to the war on cavities, you have to get them before they get you.
Who is they, exactly?
Seriously? Cavities?
Oh, yes, of course, but
Wow.
But they're empty space. You know, you can't be threatened by empty space. It's just where teeth isn't. I've never.
Well, it's not so much as fighting empty space as preventing it. I mean, that's just silly. I mean, I guess you could... No, this isn't magic. What am I saying?
No, hey, I was interested. How much did you want for that?
Well, I don't feel like getting it. But can I interest you in a red shirt?
You can sell me a toothbrush.
Well, who cares about a toothbrush when you can have a red shirt? I mean, for one,
But
it's fresh. It's still warm.
The war. I mean, you had me sold on the war.
It's red. Oh, best yet, it smells like tulips.
It smells like tulips.
Tulips. Yes.
Really?
Oh no, you can't smell unless you buy.
Okay, how much do you want for that?
How much do you have?
Let me see what I've got in my pockets. I have... Well, I don't even have lint. I'm just completely broke.
How about shoes?
Broke.
Your shoes. I'll take your shoes.
Does it look like I'm wearing shoes? I'm not wearing shoes.
And your socks are rather dull. I mean, look at mine. Look at how fantastic these are.
That is quite
They don't
nice
even
sock.
match.
Huh. Well, that's quite innovative of you, actually.
I know. I'm a
This is
trendsetter.
I just realized this is all a dream. We're sitting here talking about socks. I mean, that's ridiculous. We're dreaming.
And how do you know life isn't a dream?
Oh, well, that's so very, very deep of you.
Thank you.
Did you order the shrimp?
With Jaffa on the side.
Say, would you guys like to hear a joke?
Sure.
One night, a man named Jebediah was watching over his little girl for her nightly prayers. Now, during these little prayers, the girl says, "Good night, Mommy. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Grandpa. And goodbye, Grandma!" The next day, Jebediah gets a phone call. His mother is found dead. Now, Jebediah thinks this is kind of weird. And that night again, when he's listening to his daughter say her little nightly prayers, she says, "Good night, Mommy. Good night, Daddy. And goodbye, Grandpa!" The next day, the grandpa dies. Now, Jebediah is thinking, okay, perhaps this is just some strange coincidence, but either way, I find it a little bit frightening. Does my daughter have anything to do with this? Now, that night, the girl, saying her nightly prayers, again says, "Good night, Mommy. And goodbye, Daddy!" Now, the father is just terrified at this point. And Jebediah just doesn't know what to do. He really legitimately thinks that he's going to be murdered or something. So the next day, when he goes to work, he drives incredibly slowly and carefully, and is nice to everyone that he knows, and at the end of the day, when he's driving home, he's cautious. He stops at every stop sign completely, and makes sure that he doesn't run any red lights. Now, when he gets home, he collapses into his armchair and says to his wife, "Honey, can you get me a cup of coffee? I've had a really bad day." She says, "You've had a bad day? I found the mailman dead on the doorstep."
Now, I realize this is a very bad time for all of you, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you a couple of questions. You see, our forensics team has just completed their report, and there were a few things that were out of the ordinary about the way they found the body.
Out of the ordinary? Whatever do you mean?
Well, you seem awfully concerned by that. What are you hiding?
What? But me?
I'm asking the questions here. Anyways, would you like a lollipop, little girl? There you are. Now, I think it would be best if we just move through the details of the crime here, step by step. Just lay everything out. Here we go. After we recovered the body from the flaming petrol-filled ditch in which we found it, we did our best to remove the barbed wire from the skin. Now, underneath we found several lacerations to the muscle tissue of the abdominal areas, the arms, and the face, which were most likely caused by some kitchen utensil, probably most like an egg beater or perhaps hand grenades. Now, we also found several razor-sharp hooks embedded into the skin at various points. I'm sorry, I realize that this must be very painful to listen to. Anyways, it was at this point that we found she was also impaled on a minivan.
There are over 300 ways to kill a person with a minivan.
Huh. In any case, have another lollipop. Now, moving on. We also found in the face and scalp area, after a very detailed investigation, that the head had been removed. Now, this was most likely done by an enormous pair of garden shears, a chainsaw, or a very blunt instrument. But regardless, this all points to one conclusion. The killer was both very experienced and very disturbed. He also would have been an older man, but still young. He would have been married, probably, and the father of one little girl holding a lollipop. He also would have been about average height, wearing a leather jacket, a good shirt, and probably slacks, and a supercilious expression that isn't fooling anybody. This being the case, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you all some questions, like I said, and probably search your belongings, see if there's anything that implicates you in the crime. Now, this is just a formality here. We'll start with the ones that clearly had nothing to do with it. You're good. I'm going to have to search that backpack, I'm afraid. One lead pipe. One wrench. One candlestick. And one knife.
Those are for English.
Very good. That's good enough for me. Now to the heart of the matter. I'm going to have to ask you to take off your jacket and shoes. I see. You're clearly very good. You must have known that I was going to search you, so you ate the evidence. Isn't that right?
No.
No? Or yes?
No.
Ah, well then, I suppose you wouldn't mind if I do a very detailed and thorough surgical inspection of your torso. Well, there are no weapons here, but all that proves is that you have a digestive system of steel. You probably just had the girl eat them for you.
The inspector had not expected to find weapons. Not really. He also did not expect what he found. A demonic flame, burning perpetually. Black and hungry.
Huh. Well, now for the final question. Did anyone see or do anything suspicious last night? Well, clearly no one here is going to cooperate. But no matter, for within this envelope, I hold the answer to Grandma's death. So, who is it? Who will it be? It was suicide.
Oh man!
Yes.
Oh.
After first dressing up as Jebediah, Grandma murdered herself and then ate the weapons to hide the evidence. Yes,
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. Did you guys all like the part where it was building up and you all thought it would be Jebediah?
Oh man. I really thought it was me for a minute there.
Yes. Well, don't worry, I'll be in town all week.
Ah.
Yes.
That's a really interesting story.
Yeah, it actually happened to me on the way over here.
Ah. Well, I have to go.
I have a paper for you.
Alright, it says the world will end in 60 seconds if I don't press that button. Yes?
Can I talk to you about your religion?
Sure, coming.
Well, Have you thought about where your soul will be when God ends the world? No man shall know the hour or the day, right?
Actually, I have a pretty good idea about when it will end.
Really? That's very interesting. Let me ask you, did God tell you that?
Possibly. I mean, no.
Well, only God can tell the future. You must put your trust in Him.
Okay, listen, I'll get right on that. But there's something I really need to do right now.
Don't shut him out. You're on the verge of a glorious transformation. God is talking to you. Don't be afraid of His voice.
Okay, listen.
Are you afraid?
Yes, here's the deal. I need to press a button or the world will end.
Yes, that's right. You must hit a button in your soul, and you shall have life everlasting in paradise. But fail to hit that button, and be doomed to fiery destruction.
Well, the destruction part's true.
Well, then do it. Understand? Do it. Let me help you. Do you accept that Jesus Christ is Lord in...
No, that's not what I meant. No.
Yes or no?
Yes, fine.